Hey guys, welcome back to more family drama stories. In this video, I ended up putting my toxic in-laws in prison after they tried to steal our house. Let's dive right into the story to see what happened. The title story starts like this. I always felt like it was important to impress the in-laws and make a good impression. That started from the first time I met them, wanting to show that I was good enough for their daughter. I remember it being Thanksgiving and going over with a homemade pie to show that I don't come to places empty-handed and that I'm a man but can still do things like cook and clean. They made a comment about already having enough pie instead of really thanking me for it. This trend continued even after I married her and was still just trying to get some type of approval or make my in-laws like me. I would get my mother-in-law flowers and get told that the vase was ugly or that it looked cheap. When my father-in-law had a big birthday, I got him an expensive watch only for him to go on about how his friend got a Mercedes for his big birthday. No matter what I tried to do for them or give them, it was always met with some kind of comment showing that I was apparently not doing enough. I know that most people at that moment would just accept that they were toxic or just stop giving them anything if they were not gonna appreciate it. I just had that thing inside of me wanting their approval so badly that kept leading me to giving them things in the hopes that it would be met with a compliment or gratitude one day. I also want to mention that not once for a holiday or my birthday did they do anything or get me anything. If it stayed just like that for their entire lives, then maybe I would have learned to deal with it or snapped and stopped trying to get them to like me. Something happened though that basically tore everything apart and made things go from a quiet passive-aggressive nature to a full-on war. My in-laws wanted me to lend them some money, and by some I mean everything I had saved up for years. I told them that I didn't have that much and could maybe lend them a smaller amount, and they got mad and started yelling at me. They told me I was selfish and clearly had a lot of money since I was a doctor. My wife agreed with me it was too much to lend and they could either take what we offered or nothing at all. Then, a week later, they were complaining that they didn't get enough time with their grandchild and made comments about it being better if they were the ones to raise him. A couple months later, we went on our yearly vacation together as a family, with my in-laws not understanding why I didn't just leave my son with them and complaining that I had money for vacation but not to lend them. We were not going on some crazy destination vacation, we were driving a few states away to be near a beach for a few days. I don't think they understood wanting to be with your kid on vacation or the fact that being a doctor didn't mean that I was rich, but I had student loans I was still paying off and I was working at a hospital and not a private practice. I was doing well financially, but not exactly the millionaire that they wanted to randomly believe I was. We had a great time and I loved getting some days to spend with my wife and kids since I felt bad about working long hours from my job. We got home after the trip and I tried to unlock the door and it didn't work. My wife tried and her key did not work either. My son being only 3 meant that he didn't have a key, so we were kind of just stuck on the porch like idiots. I was calling around for a locksmith and seeing who could come out the fastest to fix the issue. We assumed that the heat wave maybe messed with the door or something. Anyway, while I was calling, my in-laws pulled up into the driveway and walked to the porch with bags of groceries. Weird, but I kept quiet and watched as they opened the door and walked into the house. They were never given a key, so I was extremely confused about the entire thing. Then we tried to walk in, and that was when things started to get crazy. Mother-in-law, whoa, I didn't invite you to come in. Me, it's my house. I don't need an invitation. Father-in-law, don't be rude. Wife, Mom, what's going on? Why don't our keys work? Mother-in-law, we changed the locks. After you didn't want to lend us the money, we decided that we deserve this home more than the two of you. My own daughter ran off and got married to a horrible man that doesn't even care about his in-laws. Me, this house doesn't belong to you. It's not in your name and you have no right to take it over. Father-in-law, actually I have a paper right here claiming that we have the rights to this house as of last week. He shoved the paper in my face very quickly and waved it around so that I could barely read it. He clearly forged something that claimed that we gave him the house and this was not gonna get solved on the porch. Mother-in-law, of course, we would love our grandchild to come and live with us here. Me, well that's never gonna happen. After all of this, you'll be lucky to ever see him again. This comment enraged my father-in-law and he lunged, trying to physically attack me. My wife retreated back to the car with our son while I was getting hit by my father-in-law and mainly just trying to defend myself and not back down. The police got called by some neighbor and they came to settle things and try to calm down the situation. I explained my side of the story with father-in-law showing his fake deed and claiming that I had given them the house and child and I'm now backing down off of that promise. The police ran everybody's license and it turned out that father-in-law actually got flagged for some unrelated crime also related to forgery. The police then called somebody down that was a forensic person or something that was able to look at the paperwork and see if it was legitimate or not. They also called the city to see if my in-laws actually filed anything, and they didn't. The house was still legally in my name and the police told the in-laws that they had to leave. They flat out refused, claiming that their agreement papers were proof enough and we are not gonna leave the property. My mother-in-law was now shouting and calling me names and saying that I was just trying to set them up and they would come back later with a gun. Why she was doing this in front of the police, I had no idea, but I was not gonna stop her from getting herself in even more trouble. The police ended up arresting both of them for trespassing and potential forgery, with father-in-law getting an extra charge for assault and mother-in-law one for threats with a deadly weapon. They truly are idiots and we would need to go to court because they would clearly be trying to use their fake paperwork to reclaim the house. They also went to criminal court for their actions, but I want to focus on the court we were there for, which was about the fake paperwork and who the home really belonged to. I got asked a ton of questions under oath about if I had sold or gifted them the house before going on vacation, if I had known about their money problems beforehand and offered to allow them to stay in the house or something. If there was any plan or talk about me giving up parental rights of my child to them. I told the truth to the courts. That's all I did was go on vacation and come home to see that they had changed the locks and taken over my house. I was happy to say that it was easy for the court to prove the paperwork fake and the house was not gonna end up being fought over for years to come. During all of the cases they made bail and were attempting to stay with their other family members, but nobody wanted to take them after what they did in fear that they would try and steal other homes next. They even tried to ask to stay with us in the same home that they were trying to claim was now theirs. I have no idea how broken a person's mind needs to be to do the mental gymnastics to think for 1 second that the people they are in a court case against are going to house them. They ended up bouncing around and of course blamed my wife and I for the entire thing because that's exactly what toxic people do. Nothing could be their fault and it was really showing during the time that we were in court with them. Once their paperwork was proven to be fake, they tried to argue that they just deserved the house more than we did, but the judge shut that down really fast, claiming that there was no place for opinions on who deserved the house in court. It was about who owned and paid for the property and that was it. The good news for them, I guess, is that after their criminal case was finished, they did both find somewhere to live that would even give them 3 meals a day for free. And well, that was prison, because they were both going to prison after the criminal case against them was finished. It was also not their first case of forgery and fraud against them, which did not help them. Making things worse was the assault and battery against me and the fact that they did actually have an unregistered gun, so the threat they made against me was all the more serious. I was happy to have my life back to normal as it could get with my job. We made a decision to also add some security cameras to the house, so if somebody was in there without us knowing, we would know right away and not days later after coming home from vacation or something. It was also good in case I get assaulted again, because I was lucky that there was a witness. In all honesty, I wanted myself safe, but more importantly, I wanted to make sure that my wife and son would be safe. If either one of them got hit, I would have probably been the one behind bars for beating the person to death who was involved. I was also happy that some extended family that always seemed to like my in-laws actually sided with us and agreed that we went through something horrible. None of them were gonna visit my in-laws in jail or give them any money for commissary. They were going to have a hard time in prison with no money and horrible entitled attitudes. And the next one is titled, Future Mother-in-Law, 54 female, called me 23 female stupid and now I'm considering calling off the wedding. And by the way, if you enjoy these stories about entitled in-laws, then please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because that would be very much appreciated. So how do I approach the situation? I, 23 female, am engaged to John, 24 male. We are together for 5 years and we want to get married in July 2025. I always thought that his family liked me because we get along well. He has 2 older brothers, 26 and 29 male, who are both married. Honestly, I was very excited to have them all as my in-laws. They were always kind to me. Some kind of important information first. About a year ago, when I was scrolling on Instagram, I saw a profile that was kind of cringy but in a cute way. It was an older woman's profile who shared inspirational quotes. I remember one particular post and it was something in the lines of, "Only stupid people pretend to know everything. Don't pretend, just ask." And honestly, this quote changed me in a lot of ways. Before that, I was always worried that I might embarrass myself if I don't know something, and after reading that quote I realized that if I always pretend that I know everything, then I will miss out on actually getting to learn about things. So I decided to change my habits and start admitting that sometimes I genuinely don't know. Someone is talking about the war in Kosovo? Okay, sure, but first let me ask some questions so I can really understand what we are actually talking about. So I ask a lot of questions sometimes. I sometimes even open the Notes app and write in some questions that I later want to find answers to. These are my latest. How does the time work in the black hole? Why some snails have shells and others don't? I know that sometimes I might come across as annoying, but now on to the problem. So his parents hosted a small barbecue last weekend only for the family. It was the mom, 54 female, dad, 59 male, brothers, 26 and 29 male, and their wives, 27 and 27 female. I was the last person who showed up because I had to work late. I entered the house and when I was walking towards the back of the house into the backyard, I heard John's mom talking about me. To be honest, she was not talking about me, more like mocking me. I heard her say in a high-pitched voice, "How does the sun work? Where should I put the fork? Why does nobody like me? How do I wipe my ass?" I just stood there and I had this sinking feeling. I couldn't move, so I just stood there. And I heard them all laughing. One of the wives said, "I actually don't mind her always asking questions. I think it's cute." And it made me feel hopeful that they would say something like, "Yeah, sure, we're just playing, we love that." But none of them did. And instead, the mom replied, "It's not cute, she's just stupid." After that they laughed again and I heard John laughing too. My heart kinda broke in that moment because he didn't even say one positive thing, he did not defend me, he just laughed. I quietly turned around and left the house and I texted John that I got sick and I have to stay home. Now I'm wondering how I should approach this situation, cause we live together and I sleep in the guest bedroom for now and I use the excuse that I don't want him to get sick from being around me. I cannot ignore him forever, of course, and I cannot pretend to be sick anymore because it's been too long. I'm not sure how do I proceed, maybe it was just a misunderstanding. I'm considering talking to them about this, but I'm also worried that they won't be honest with me. I cannot marry him if he really thinks I'm stupid, but I also cannot marry into a family who thinks so little of me. But yeah, maybe it was a joke and I shouldn't take it too seriously. However, I'm so torn apart and every day I convince myself a bit more that it's okay and sometimes we should all laugh about ourselves. Now I feel like I'm just going crazy. I would really appreciate some advice. And yeah, Ripe Stars, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Do you think that OP is taking this too seriously or that she is doing the right thing? How would you have acted in that situation? I'm very curious about your opinion. Edit, there are many comments saying that they cannot stand people like me. I agree that sometimes I can be a bit too much with the questions, but with that being said, I still think I'm within reason. I don't do it around people I just met, I rarely do it at parties or other gatherings. I usually do it with people who are close to me and who I think wouldn't judge me, or with people who specifically have knowledge about something and are willing to share it. If I'm a part of a conversation, I'm not rude and I'm not interrupting, I usually just ask one or two questions. If a discussion is about climate change, I'm not asking about monkeys, if you know what I'm saying. I'm also not a complete dumbass. I don't ask questions which generally would be considered dumb to other people. Those I just write in the notes and check answers later in the internet. I'm capable of reading, so I make good use of it, but after all, I still do ask questions a lot. And yeah, Ripe Stars, once again, I cannot really understand what Reddit is about here. What is so bad about asking questions, even if they are stupid questions? To be honest, while I was in school and university, I pretty much experienced the opposite. Almost nobody ever asked questions, and most of the time they really should have asked, because if there was a task or something that they did not understand, they would rather do it in a wrong way rather than ask a question. So I would say it makes sense to ask questions and then do a good job, instead of being afraid to ask a question and then do it wrong. Maybe that's just me though. Either way, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to people who reached out to answer my questions about black holes, snails, ducks, light bulbs and other stuff. I would love to have you as my friends. For the other people who said I should just shut up, I don't really care if you find me annoying or hard to be around. I'm okay with that. I don't exist to please everyone. I'm just here for a good time and have my own interests and learn. I didn't expect my post to gain so much attention, but I'm grateful for the advice. Most of you told me to break up with him and at the very least confront him, so that's what I decided to do. You gave me a push and confidence to do it, but before I did that, I texted the wife of John's brother, the one who said she liked me asking questions, and I asked if we can meet up for coffee. She said sure. We met and I did not see the point in pretending to her that I did not hear their conversation, so after some small talk I just said, "I heard you are all talking about me during the barbecue." She immediately got sad and said she feels embarrassed. She explained that it was not a joke, was not out of context, that it was just mean and hurtful. She said she is sorry for not defending me more, but I said that's okay and I understand. I told her I don't blame her for anything and just wanted to make sure that I understand the situation and see it for what it really was. And it really was laughing about me behind my back, just bullying, and at this point I just had to confront John. In my last post, so many comments were saying that he would probably try gaslighting me, and you were right. We were having dinner together for the first time since the barbecue happened, because before I tried my best to avoid him, and yes, I know, not very mature of me, but other than you guys, I don't really have a strong support system. My family and best friends are hundreds of kilometers away. I only have 2 good friends here. I was so stressed, I thought I was gonna pass out. My legs were shaking and I was terrified because I knew deep down that this is the moment when my 5-year-old relationship goes down the drain. I looked him in the eyes and asked, "How does the sun work?" He looked confused, so I followed with, "Where should I put my fork? Why does nobody like me?" At this point, realization hit him and he started nervously laughing. I said I was there and I heard them. After the initial shock passed, he got mad and he said it's rude to eavesdrop. I said it's rude to bully people and he tried telling me that it was just a joke, that I should not be so uptight, that it really was funny. I said that I didn't find it funny and went to the guest room to calm down. He started panicking and he was asking me to please talk to him. He was much more apologetic and said that he'll be 100% honest with me, and I asked if his mom made similar comments before the barbecue and he said yes. I asked him if he ever defended me and he said he tries to. I don't know if I believe him. He told me he loves me and respects me. I don't know if I believe it either. I said that I love him too, but I need a break. He is all I'd ever known. He was my first and only partner, and I have no outside perspective of this. I have no experience, and I need a moment to think. I will be going to my friend's house for a while to think everything through. The apartment has his name on the lease anyway. After I gathered some of my things and left, he kept texting me non-stop. He tried calling, but I didn't respond. I was very hurt because he tried to belittle my feelings, and only later when he realized that I might break up with him, started apologizing. The next day, I decided to give him another chance to explain himself, and I came back to the apartment. He seemed very sad and tired, and he said that he told his mom that I overheard them. I said I don't care. It is his time to step up and show me that he cares. I'm not interested in an apology from his mother. I'm already done with her. I cannot put up with this behavior and mocking me like we are in primary school. I saw a comment saying that probably her ego is hurting, and I think it's true. She never got the chance or never had the desire to have an education. She is a very good homemaker, but outside of that she doesn't have many interests of her own. If I'm asking her about making tomato soup, she'll be talking for 30 minutes lecturing me about adding enough sugar, but not too much. She will lecture anyone who is willing to listen, but anytime someone is talking about something she is not familiar with, she gets defensive and tries to imply that nobody cares about that, and if it's not relevant to her, it shouldn't be discussed. Once again, he tried telling me that I should relax because it was only a joke, and at this point I had enough. I took off my ring and told him that his behavior is a joke and I cannot be the punchline. I told him that I wish him and his family the best and to look in the mirror and to check if they really are as superior as they think they are. I said I'm going to be back with my friends soon to pick up the rest of my stuff and to not contact me again unless it's about moving my things out. And that's it. I'm done. Thank you all for the advice. Without you, I would not have the confidence to leave this man. I know I deserve better. I cannot be with someone who cannot stand up for me, and I would not be able to feel comfortable around his family, so I'm done with the relationship. I hope they will treat his next girlfriend better. Thank you again, Reddit, for the advice. The next one is an I don't work here lady hospital story. I work in a hospital, also context, I have a baby face and I'm short. On any given day, I can be mistaken for a high school student playing dress up, so I don't really begrudge people for mistaking me for a volunteer. Unless, of course, you are mean. It's a weekend and I'm scheduled to work 28 hours. In my hospital, our staff are pretty distinctive. Nurses wear white, surgical staff wear blue, and techs and other staff wear black. I am wearing the baggy surgical scrubs to be as comfortable as possible while in hell. I'm rushing around trying to see my patients and stop by to say hi to a few nurses I recognize. We chat a little and no one asks me where I'm going. I mention the patient room and they give each other looks. Bad sign. Before looking at me and assuring they would check in, bad sign number 2. I thank them and then I dip into the patient room. Me, hi patient, visibly irritated. About time you came in here. I am done with my food. Me, okay, do you want me to clear that tray for you? Patient looks at me like a dumbass. Well, I'm done with it, aren't I? Alright then, grumpy guy. Whatever, it happens. I go to move the tray and notice his wife sitting in a chair by his bed. She is looking apologetic to me and moves to take the tray, but I wave her off and settle it to the side. Me, hi I'm patient, I need to go to the bathroom. Me, okay, I can come back if you would like. Patient again looking at me like I'm a dumbass. I need to go to the bathroom. Me, sir, you're welcome to use the restroom, I can come back when you're done. This place is ridiculous. You're not even gonna help me? I'm out of major surgery and you cannot help me get up and piss. Me pulling out my patient list more for show than anything else because I have it memorized. This person had finger surgery in his non-dominant hand. He has one completely unwrapped hand and his legs work fine. According to my record, sir, you passed your physical therapy yesterday and you have unlimited ability to get in and out of bed and move on your own. However, I can also provide a urinal for you if you would like. Patient yelling, this is ridiculous. I just had major surgery. I'm in pain. You want me to just lie in my own piss? You should be helping me. Hold my cucumber like a good girl and help me. At this point, I see a few nurses duck their head in to check on me, but I wave them off. This dude needs an ego check. Me, sir, that's a highly inappropriate request. If you need assistance with your needs, we will provide it. But we will not tolerate being verbally harassed. Patient, I'm not effing listening to some damn nurse telling me what to do. You better do your job. Patient's wife, she is not a nurse. Patient, I don't effing care what she is. I'm not listening to your damn BS if you don't help me. I don't ever want to see you again. Me, just to confirm, sir, that you don't want to see me again, right? Patient, did I stutter? I say go away, little girl. I want a new nurse. At this point, his nurse steps into the room with hospital security, the kind who are built like NFL linebackers, responding to psych issues and have handcuffs. Nurse, Dr. OP, I called security out of concern for staff safety. Security officer, are you okay and do you require assistance? Me, no, but I would like you two to witness for me that the patient would no longer require our services and pain management will sign off now per patient insistence. I will alert his surgery team. Nurse and security officer nods. Nurse makes a note in her papers. Patient is now visibly buffering as he's processing. Patient loading, probably at 50%. Wait, doctor, with pain management? Me, yes, I'm the pain management doctor. Your team wanted me to see you assess your post-operative pain, but I understand that we are not needed anymore. I'll let your team know. Patient, anger downloaded. You could have told me. You're leaving? I want a new pain doc. Me smiling serenely. Sir, it's the weekend. I'm the only pain management doctor. As the 2 other witnesses have noted, you have fired me from your care. Good day. I go off on my merry way as this guy starts going ballistic. It's not standard for the pain service to be asked to see a hand surgery, but I did it as a favor to the orthopedic surgeon since the patient is, quoting the surgeon, a little bitch about his finger pain. I then asked the nurse to let me know what happens when the patient realized that I am the only one in the hospital who can write for high-dose narcotics that he keeps demanding. And yeah guys, with this we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. And also check out my podcast by searching for Ripe Stories on Spotify, Amazon, Audible and other podcast platforms. You will often find exclusive episodes and early access to new content. Furthermore, please check out my Patreon by going to patreon.com/ripeyoutube or my YouTube membership program for even more exclusive stories. Thank you so much and I will see you again tomorrow.